The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. If you try it, you will be lonely often, and sometimes frightened. But no price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself.
I am a forest, and a night of dark trees, but he who is not afraid of my darkness, will find banks full of roses under my cypresses. The true man wants two things, danger and play. For that reason he wants woman, as the most dangerous plaything.
All things are subject to interpretation. Whichever interpretation prevails at a given time is a function of power and not truth. He who would learn to fly one day must first learn to walk and run and climb and dance. One cannot fly into flying. A thinker sees his own actions as experiments and questions, as attempts to find out something. Success and failure are for him answers above all. As long as you still experience the stars as something above you, you lack the eye of knowledge. All great things must first wear terrifying and monstrous masks, in order to inscribe themselves on the hearts of humanity. There is an innocence in admiration, it occurs in one who has not yet realized that they might one day be admired. For art to exist, for any sort of aesthetic activity or perception to exist, a certain physiological precondition is indispensable: intoxication. My formula for greatness in a human being is a more fatty, that one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity. Not merely bear what is necessary, still less conceal it. All idealism is mendaciousness in the face of what is necessary, but love it. There will always be rocks in the road ahead of us. They will be stumbling blocks or stepping stones, it all depends on how you use them. Today as always, men fall into two groups, slaves and free men. Whoever does not have 2/3 of his day for himself, is a slave, whatever he may be, a statesman, a businessman, an official, or a scholar. What is good? All that heightens the feeling of power, the will to power, power itself. What is bad? All that is born of weakness. What is happiness? The feeling that power is growing, that resistance is overcome. I was in darkness, but I took 3 steps and found myself in paradise. The first step was a good thought, the second, a good word, and the third, a good deed. On the mountains of truth you can never climb in vain, either you will reach a point higher up today, or you will be training your powers so that you will be able to climb higher tomorrow. Life is the will to power, our natural desire to dominate and reshape the world to fit our own preferences and assert our personal strength to the fullest degree. No one can construct for you the bridge upon which precisely you must cross the stream of life, no one but you yourself alone. In the end things must be as they are and have always been, the great things remain for the great, the abysses for the profound, the delicacies and thrills for the refined, and, to sum up shortly, everything rare for the rare. The most intelligent men, like the strongest, find their happiness where others would find only disaster, in the labyrinth, in being hard with themselves and with others, in effort, their delight is self-mastery, in them asceticism becomes second nature, a necessity, as instinct. But what if pleasure and pain should be so closely connected that he who wants the greatest possible amount of the one must also have the greatest possible amount of the other, that he who wants to experience the heavenly high jubilation, must also be ready to be sorrowful unto death? He who cannot command himself should obey. And many can command themselves, but much is still lacking before they can obey themselves. The discipline of suffering, of great suffering, do you not know that it is this discipline alone that has produced all the elevations of humanity so far? But it is the same with man as with the tree. The more he seeks to rise into the height and light, the more vigorously do his roots struggle earthward, downward, into the dark, the deep, into evil. To those human beings who are of any concern to me, I wish suffering, desolation, sickness, ill-treatment, indignities, profound self-contempt, the torture of self-mistrust, and the wretchedness of the vanquished. Here the ways of men divide. If you wish to strive for peace of soul and happiness, then believe; if you wish to be a disciple of truth, then inquire. We love life, not because we are used to living but because we are used to loving. We often refuse to accept an idea merely because the tone of voice in which it has been expressed is unsympathetic to us. One should die proudly when it is no longer possible to live proudly. The essential thing, in heaven and earth, is that there should be a long obedience in the same direction, thereby results, and has always resulted in the long run, something which has made life worth living. I know my fate. One day my name will be associated with the memory of something tremendous, a crisis without equal on earth, the most profound collision of conscience, a decision that was conjured up against everything that had been believed, demanded, hallowed so far. I am no man, I am dynamite. Dancing in all its forms cannot be excluded from the curriculum of all noble education, dancing with the feet, with ideas, with words, and, need I add that one must also be able to dance with the pen? The great end of art is to strike the imagination with the power of a soul that refuses to admit defeat even in the midst of a collapsing world. I go in solitude, so as not to drink out of everybody's cistern. When I am among the many I live as the many do, and I do not think I really think; after a time it always seems as if they want to banish myself from myself and rob me of my soul. I go in solitude, so as not to drink out of everybody's cistern. When I am among the many I live as the many do, and I do not think I really think; after a time it always seems as if they want to banish myself from myself and rob me of my soul. To predict the behavior of ordinary people in advance, you only have to assume that they will always try to escape a disagreeable situation with the smallest possible expenditure of intelligence. One has to take a somewhat bold and dangerous line with this existence, especially as, whatever happens, we are bound to lose it. Once the decision has been made, close your ear even to the best counter-argument, sign of a strong character. Thus an occasional will to stupidity. The earth has become small, and on it hops the last man, who makes everything small. His race can no more be exterminated than the flea can be. The last man lives the longest. To escape boredom, man works either beyond what his usual needs require, or else he invents play, that is, work that is designed to quiet no need other than that for working in general.